Our wildlife is dying. Our politicians not taking the stand that they should. These guys aren't going to change. If we don't turn this around soon, this planet is doomed.
Tell me which generation you are.
I'm Gen X.
Right. Your name?
Doug R.
Where are you from?
Louisiana.
And where you living now?
Connecticut.
Okay, and what's your generation?
Post-World War II.
What's your priority level in regard to the environment?
I think I'd put a 10.
A 10?
Yeah.
Okay, so a 10. So it's really important.
Oh, yes.
That's really important to you. So what are your thoughts, opinions, ideas, perspective on global warming and climate change?
Well, one thing we know is that it's a global issue. If we don't address it soon, we're going to be in deep doo-doo. You know, the U.S. ranks up there with China, the Russian Federation, in terms of senior moment here, green gases. What am I trying? What is the word I'm looking for? The
greenhouse gases.
Greenhouse gases, yeah, and. You know, I don't quite get people who don't see it as a priority or don't recognize it as a reality, because all you have to do is look at the weather patterns that have changed, the hurricanes, the flooding, the fires. I mean, everywhere you look throughout the country and the world now, this is happening. Biodiversity. That our wildlife is dying.
Like, what's your main concern, I guess, around it?
That our politicians are not taking the stand that they should, and that, you know, many people are not taking it seriously and don't believe in it. I mean, I hear that constantly, that there's no such thing as climate change, and you know, that it's, quote, fake news, you know, which I find really disturbing, because how can you not believe in climate change when you look around and see what is happening? We've been very fortunate in Danbury that we haven't had floods and fires and hurricanes and tornadoes, but it seems to be going on every place else.
Yeah. So do you see any solutions?
Oh. Well, a primary one is fossil fuels. Yes. Yeah. That has to be addressed, because that's a major, major issue. I was listening to a discussion about climate change and you know, all these things that are happening, and the response was, that's all politicized. You know, that isn't really happening, which terrifies me, absolutely terrifies me.
Yeah. How does it make you feel? Like our little discussion here, you know, when we talk about the environment, the global warming, the impact, the fossil fuel industry, politicians.
Yeah, it's frightening. It's frightening because, again, if we don't turn this around soon, this planet is doomed. You know, I don't think that can be overstated. We're in serious trouble.
Who do you think has a responsibility for our environment? You know, the global environment.
We all do.
We all do.
Yeah.
Anybody any more or less?
Well, I think that I have to point the finger to Washington, you know, the Congress and all, because I think decisions in this country are made based on how they personally benefit. You know, I've known a lot of politicians who didn't have a pot or a window when they were elected and came out multi-millionaires. So I think it's all about the bucks. And you know, if their constituency doesn't believe in climate change, doesn't believe in a lot of this stuff, they are going to give the constituency what they want to hear, and not for the benefit of the American people.
Right. So what would you like government to do? What do you see as a viable solution governmentally?
Do away with fossil fuels. The emissions from our automobiles are, doing permanent damage. It's also expensive to do this. When they put up windmills, people have objected to the windmills because they don't like the appearance or they don't like whatever. And they'd rather breathe polluted air, apparently.
Right.
I don't know. Someone said, and I absolutely believe it, that Congress is the most privileged nursing home. These guys aren't going to change, So until we get new blood in, then nothing's going to change.
Leads me into my next question. Who do you admire that you would like to see brought to the forefront that is actually impacting global warming, climate issues?
Bill Gates is one.
And what is it about Bill Gates? What is there something that he has brought to your attention, or that he's actually doing, or is it
that he actually does things, that he doesn't talk about the hypothetical.
Right.
He's out there doing
things?
Yeah,
Right.
and there are a few others too, but right now I can't think of.
Okay. Do you know your carbon footprint?
Unfortunately, I use oil and propane. I guess right now we really don't have many options here.
Right. So it almost like you've got a bit of a conundrum, because you were saying get rid of the fossil fuel industry, but then we are dependent on it.
We're dependent on it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's a tough nut. It's a real tough nut.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So do you see yourself as part of the solution?
I would like to think so. In terms of talking about it regularly, bringing it up regularly, even to those who strongly oppose the idea.
What would you like to say to the powers that be about this issue? What do you want from our corporations, our government, our social systems? What would you, given that you said priority 10, like what would your message be?
It would be to think of what is best for this planet and the people who live on it, rather than their own self-interest.
Right.
Well, and the bottom line for them is the almighty dollar.
They're just looking out for jobs, they say. And jobs are with the fossil fuel industry and that complex that's around it. Plastics, right? Cars, regular petroleum using cars, that kind of a thing. So how do you come to terms with that?
I tell you, it's difficult. It's just like I cannot drink well water. And I have to buy water, and water comes in plastic bottles, and it kills me that I am paying for plastic bottles that go into our oceans, or the majority of it isn't recycled. A small percentage of plastics are recycled. And it's like, again, how do you get around it?